A while back, I discovered something about video testimonials which I'm really excited about revealing to you. To be honest, for the kind of business you've got, this innovation may totally change the way in which you put together your video testimonials. I'd like to show you how to construct and produce the perfect client video testimonial, and this technique is the exact same format that I use with my own client testimonials. You'll need a powerful testimonial that says the right things at the right time about your products and services. So join me now and let's find out how to transform a simple on-camera interview into your most powerful video marketing tool. Hi, I'm Jem Patel from JSP Media Group, where your vision is our business. Everyone knows that people buy from someone they respect, they like, and they trust. And one of the best ways to build that respect, like, and trust is with video testimonials. But before you start to film these testimonials, you'll need to know how to produce them correctly for them to be really effective. You'll also need to know what kind of questions to ask so that you get the best possible response. And we'll get to that very shortly. But first and foremost, I'll need to show you how to shoot it right. So let's take a look at what you need to know technically. Now, sound is very important in any production. So choose a place that's quiet and has no loud noises, such as near a window where you can hear traffic, or in a busy office where you may hear people talking and phones ringing. Where possible, use an external microphone just like this one. Now, most cameras will actually have an audio jack where you can simply plug in a microphone just like this one. If you can't, that's fine. But just make sure you're not standing too far away that we can't hear you. You probably won't have an expensive lighting kit, so how can you ensure that your footage is lit correctly and look good? Well, by using as much natural light as you can. Now, don't worry about the technicalities of three-point lighting. Your main goal is to at least know the basics. Right now, as you can probably see, we're here shooting a series on DIY video testimonials. The only problem is that the lighting in here just isn't perfect. Now, as we've said before, take advantage of as much natural light as you can. This may involve you moving the subject to a different part of a room, or indeed a completely different place altogether. Take a look at this diagram, which shows you how to light a subject using natural light. You'll see that we've tried to copy and use that same system to light me here today. Also, be sure that you've set the white balance on the camera correctly so that a white wall looks white and not yellow. As you can see, without adequate lighting, your video may just get left in the dark. Can someone turn on the lights? It's a bit scary in here, and I think I saw a spider before the lights went out. Hello? With the advent of cameras in mobile phones, most people know how to compose a frame. A good rule of thumb is to use the rule of thirds. When positioning or framing your interviewee, try to position them either left or right of centre. Placing your subject directly in the centre can give the appearance of a police mugshot, like this. Especially if they're speaking directly into the camera. Now, here's a still image from a testimonial video shoot we did for Cranmore Dental. The subject is positioned to the right of centre and is speaking to me where I'm sat opposite her. Now, if we were to overlay the rule of thirds in this, you'll see that the first line of thirds hits the subject's eyes perfectly. And this is what you should be aiming for every single time. Now, there will be times when you simply can't adhere to these rules, and sometimes this happens to me as well. It is, of course, unavoidable due to space constraints. However, with a little practice and careful planning, even a newbie can achieve a professional look. For this video, I've been looking at the lens, but if you're doing testimonials, you might want to have the subject talk to the interviewer so that they would be talking off to another person. You could be on one side or the other. The most important rule, I think, is this. Make sure you can see both the subject's eyes. If you have a side shot and can only see one eye, then subconsciously we tend not to trust them. We need eye contact. The most important person in your video is your subject. So crucially, you want the viewer's attention to look at and listen to every word they say. You don't want any unnecessary distractions. However, if you are filming without a tripod, the shot will almost certainly look really wobbly and therefore, this is a tripod by the way, therefore really annoying to the viewer, which is something you certainly don't want. I think you can see what I mean by this. Now, almost all little handheld cameras do have a small screw in the bottom for a tripod or even a stand of some type. So investing in a tripod, I think, is a must. If you can't get a tripod, just find a way to steady yourself. Even holding your arms and your hands together like this, putting your elbows to your chest, that makes you your own human tripod. Who you're filming and the reason why will determine the best background to use. Whichever background you decide on, it should be free of clutter and debris. If it's all possible, try to have your logo in the background, just like we have here, but just make sure it isn't moving. Or it could be a bit too distracting, I think. The point is, you don't want your background to overpower your subject. And that's why many interviews are shot against a solid backdrop. So if you have a white wall, or indeed a dark wall, then by all means, use that as your background. A good tip is to look at your video through the eyes of your first-time viewer. Think of ways to connect with your audience other than just through the words that you say. What do you think? Usually, your initial thoughts are the right ones. So if you don't like your background, just move location. Choosing the right person to talk about you and your business can make or break a video testimonial. Make sure they look the part and are dressed smartly. There is nothing worse than seeing someone who is untidy, has messy hair, or just plain scruffy talking about your brand. Talk to your subject before you film them and tell them the reason why you're producing the video. Not only will you put them at ease by doing so, but you'll also get the best out of them. Teach them to include the question you ask them in their answer. So for example, if you ask them, would you recommend our services? They need to respond by starting with, I would recommend the services of, and then the name of your company. Most people don't enjoy talking on camera. I've shot loads of testimonials and reactions to giving a testimony on camera are almost always the same. I wouldn't know what to say. I don't think I look good on camera. But here's what I say to them. And by the way, out of the hundreds and hundreds of testimonials I have filmed with JSP Media Group, this usually always works. I understand completely, but please, look, don't worry. That's not how it works. You see, you don't talk to the camera. You and I will have a conversation, I'll ask you some questions, and we'll just talk for a few minutes. That would make it easier, don't you think? That's what I would say. Now, if they're still indecisive, you can add, I know that people watching this will really appreciate hearing about your experiences. Will that be okay? Now, this is based on the idea that although nobody wants to talk on camera, almost everybody enjoys having a good conversation. When it comes to asking your subject questions about your business, try to use questions that empathize with your potential viewers. They have a problem and you can help them with it. It should never be about buy my services. It's about teaching them what you can do and how you can help them with it. The more you can get your customer to understand how to deal with whatever problem they're having, for which, by the way, you're the answer, that person is more likely then to become a customer of yours. Never ask a subject to read from or indeed memorize a script. They're your words and not theirs. And of course, that sometimes can come across camera, which is not great. So the best way of going about getting a really passionate response from a subject is to ask a series of questions and then editing them as one piece. Now, before you record the interview, ask the subject to use the name of your company as many times as possible in their responses, and not use words like they, he, or she. By using the name of your business repeatedly, reaffirms to the viewer which business video they're watching and really invigorates them to pick up that phone and call you. Also, don't ask questions that begin with do you, have you, are you? Because usually the response will be a yes or a no. Generally, I ask questions that begin with why, what, when, and where. These are the ones that will tend to give you a much better response. The testimonial in most cases is about how the subject feels, and it isn't about you. So be careful not to say or oh right whilst they're answering the questions. Otherwise we'll hear you say that in the video. Just ask the question and then keep quiet. It's good to nod to show that you're listening, and perhaps the odd gentle facial expression, just no sound. Remember though, before you record any testimonial, you will need to ask them to get a release form signed. And lucky for you, if you go to our website, jspmediagroup.com/release form, you'll find the forms that we use. We don't claim that they'll hold up legally where you're based, however, they do cover all the points. Now, to help you out on the road to DIY video testimonials, we've put together a suitable kit list that we think may help you. We certainly don't earn any commission from these retailers and are certainly not part of their company, but I do think that if you invest in suitable equipment, you can get the best use and a good return on your investment when used correctly, of course. So go ahead and download for free our kit list, which is available at jspmediagroup.com/kit list. So if you'd like to be busier and have more engaged quality clients, start educating your potential customers through the experiences of your present ones.